So let's learn from the Gevalt Yehuda, Rav Avraham Eger, the son of Rabbi Eger. I want you guys to keep your eyes open, your ears open, and your heart open. I said that on purpose. Keep your eyes open. Okay? Because tonight we're going to talk about holy eyes. That's the whole Parsha is all about having holy eyes. This Shabbos is about Kedusha Sa'ayin, the holiness of eyes. And nowadays, Kedusha Sa'ayin, normally what people have in mind is guarding their eyes. Don't watch the wrong things on screens. Don't look at the wrong things. And that's, of course, true. But when Shlomo, of course, is going to spin it in his own special way. Not in the negative, but in the positive. What does it mean to have holy eyes? What does it mean if I say someone has holy eyes? So let me put it out there for you guys. Let me ask you, what do you think? What do you think it means if I say someone has holy eyes? What does that mean to you? Who comes to mind? So as it says, we got to look at the best of people. So he knows. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Shema means to hear. But says the Holy Zohar, Shema is an acronym. It stands for Se'u, Shin, Se'u, Marom, Mem, Einechem. Ayin, lift up your eyes. Which means you can only really hear if you're lifting up your eyes. You won't be Zeicha to Shema Yisrael unless you uplift your eyes. You can only hear when you're seeing. If you're seeing in the wrong way, if you're looking at things with the wrong perspective, you're not going to really be able to hear the Torah. You're not going to be able to hear the message that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to give us. You got to look right, and then you're going to hear. Shema. Hi, Mom. Shema stands for... Hi, Mom and Dad. Shema stands for... You can only hear Hashem if you lift up your eyes. So what does that mean to lift up your eyes? That the Torah is depending on lifting up your eyes. You know, I'm going to say something very deep. We're not able to see most things which happen to us until someone points it out to me. So often in life, we are blind to our reality, and then someone comes and points out amazing things to us. I'll tell you something very simple. Maybe some of us have been to the holy city of Yerushalayim, and they didn't see anything. They saw a wall. They saw a bunch of people with funny hats. And some people were in Yerushalayim and they see everything. What's the difference? If it's your first time, who took them? Who was their tour guide? What did they hear when they're at the Holy Wall, when they're at the Kotel? Did they go down with a tour guide who told them exactly when the wall was built? This was built in the Mamluk era, and this stone was reused in the Crusader era. So you walk away, and you knew exactly when the wall was built. But you didn't see the Holy Wall. You don't really understand what the Kotel is all about. Someone can tell you. Do you know what the Holy Wall is? Gevalt. It's a chelik of the Beis Hamikdash. The Shechina. Lo zaza mikotel maravi. God's presence never left the western wall. It's so holy here. This is a place where God is listening to our tefillas. You can feel Hashem's presence here. In other words, it could be that you're at a place and you really can't see it in the right way until someone points it out the real way to see it. It's all about what way you're looking at it. And sometimes we need people to awaken us to the experience, to where we're standing. We don't realize we're standing on holy ground until someone points that out to us. So every day when we say Shema Yisrael, or Shlomo is teaching us, we're saying Shema Yisrael doesn't just mean listen. It means lift up your eyes. Look up. In order to hear, you have to change your perspective. Think back to the Meraglim. The Meraglim, they saw it to Israel, and 10 of them saw it as a curse. And 2 of them, Yeshua and Caleb, saw it as a bracha. The same situation. Are you lifting up your eyes and looking with holy eyes? Or are you looking down on the situation? Some people have a tendency always to look down. Hope you guys haven't met such people. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I've met such people. Everything they see, they have something to complain about. They even look down at God. Right? There's a funny story that comes to mind of Jonathan Sachs, whose yard set I think is tonight. So he would often talk about this guy, and he's in a hospital, and he's a Jewish guy. He's very upset. And the nurse comes in and says, Yanko, what's wrong? Is the food not tasty? He says, no, it's delicious. Is the service problematic? And he says, no, you guys are impeccable. So why do you look so down? He says, everything's amazing. So why are you so sad? About? What am I gonna kvetch about? So some people love kvetching. That's what gives them their simcha in life is to kvetch. But ultimately, at the end of the day, to be a yid is se'u marom anechem, to lift up your eyes, to look with a positive perspective, to choose joy. Maram means with looking with a higher vision. Kabbalat malchut shamayim means that eyes looking from the perspective of Gamzu Latova, that everything has a reason, everything happens from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Se'umaram Anechem Shema Yisrael means to look with eyes from above. The Shevet Yehuda says, what's a slave? What does it mean to be a slave? It means that your eyes are always looking down. You're looking down at everything because people look down at you. And when people look down at you, you became trained to look down at the world. And some people, you just feel it. As soon as you meet them, you feel like they're looking down at you. They're looking down at Judaism, at Yiddishkeit. They're looking down at you. Everything's down. That's a slave. But a free person, someone who's a mamish, a servant of Hashem, he's always looking up. He's looking to see the good. Like Rabbi Nachman would always say, when I look at the good of another person, I actually lift them up. He becomes higher just by looking at him higher. Shlomo says, sometimes I have the privilege of going from city to city to a city I've never been before. You travel the whole world. I go to give a concert to thousands of people walking around saying hello. Some people, mamish, Shlomo's minhag was to greet every single person. And some people, mamish, look at you straight and you say hello to them. And some people look down or to the side. Besides getting into psychology, the people who mamish do something with their lives in hope for infinite return, they look at your eyes. The depth of their life is based on the fact that mamish, I don't want to keep my eyes down. You know what happens on the Shalosh Regalim, on the 3 holidays? The pasuk says, Shalosh panim b'shana yira'eh kol zchurecha et pnei Hashem lakecha. 3 times a year, I'm coming to you, and I'm mamish looking in the eyes of God. I'm coming up to the Beis Hamikdash, and I'm looking eye to eye at a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And the Beis Hamikdash is a place where we can look eye to eye. We're not running away. We're not looking down, God forbid. We're looking eye to eye in Yerushalayim, a place of yirah, a place of seeing. Now listen to this. Shlomo says it gets even deeper. Ayin is a gematria of 70, right? Everybody knows that in Kiddush, how many words are there in Kiddush? Every letter, every word has meaning. You could probably guess how many words in Kiddush, guys? 70. There's 70 words in Kiddush. And guess how many nations are there in the world? 70. So how do you go out of being a slave to the world? By having holy eyes. That's how we sanctify ourselves. By not looking down. Once you start looking down on people, you're already a slave. And when does Hashem open up our eyes? To start looking up, to start seeing with holy eyes? This week's Parsha. Parsha Shabbos. Shabbos Chayei. This is a week where we're able to uplift our eyes. Now, here's a beautiful thing. How do you say a water fountain in Hebrew? This week's Parsha. Ma'ayan. Mem ayin yud nun. A spring. A spring is a ma'ayan. Me'in. From the eye. Mem means from. So I'm drawing from the fountain. This whole portion, the whole Torah portion, happens by the spring of water. Shlomo is alluding to the fact that Eliezer has to go to the water fountain, to the Mayan, to the spring, and at the spring he meets Rivka, and sees that she's bringing water for the camels, and she's bringing water to the fountain, and over the Torah stresses Ma'ayan, 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 Ayin, Ayin, Ayin. By the way, I'm doing a singles event by my house this Shabbos, and I keep telling the organizer that we need to get a Ma'ayan, we need a spring. And that way we can have the boys come to the spring, and any girl that fills up the water for not just the guy, but for their camels, then that's the girl. A chocolate Willy Wonka water fountain. That's my idea, but she didn't really buy it. She didn't think so. But in any case, I think it's a great idea. Point is that what's with all the stress in this week's parsha about the ayin? Because an eye does much more than just seeing. An eye, we say in Shachris, on Shabbos, the whole ayin titzapeh. Every eye is waiting for you, Hashem. Some people think they're waiting with their hearts. The real waiting is by mamish, waiting with your eyes. That's what it really means to long. The eyes have two levels. One level is to see that there's one God. But another level is to yearn with your eyes. That's maybe even a higher level. How did Avram Avinu find Hashem? The Midrash says, Ra'ah bira doleches. He saw that the world was burning. He used his eyes of yearning, and through that yearning, he was able to find Hashem. So eyes, that's why in Hanukkah, when you look at the candles and we yearn, we find out what we're yearning for. What does it mean to be a Yid, a Jew? A Yid is not just to see this world and to look positively upon the world, but on a higher level, it's to yearn for more. That's the essence of a Jew. That's why we're always trying to do more. We are never satisfied. We want to do. We're doers. Because a Jew's eyes are yearning for more. We're yearning for the Mashiach. We're yearning for this world. We're yearning for the beyond. We want more. And that's the essence of Shabbos. Shabbos is a holiness of not just seeing with my eyes, but waiting with my eyes. I'm yearning on Shabbos. And maybe that's why this week's Parsha we learned about Ma'arat HaMachpelah, the double cave. The Shnei Chayei Sarah, the double life of Sarah. Because on the one hand, a Jew sees this world, but on the other hand, there's much more. There's a double level. I'm yearning for much more. And I want you to know the deepest depth, which Shlomo says. When I look at someone, how do I know if they love me or not? If I can see the yearning in their eyes, if I can see what they're yearning for, then they love me. Do you know what it means to look at somebody with great love? I want you to know the deepest depth. When I love someone very much, I have to close my eyes in their presence because I'm yearning for so much more. And this is the deepest depth. At the moment when Yitzchak met Rivka, what does it say? What does Rivka do in this week's Parsha? She closes her eyes. Why does she cover her eyes? Open up your hearts, children. Rivka is telling Yitzchak, our relationship is on the high level, where you have to close your eyes. It's beyond simple connection. It's beyond this world. Now I want you to know something very deep. The Gemara says, Asur la'adam shikadesh isha ad ena. You can't engage a girl, you can't get engaged to her until you see her. Right? By the way, it's a little bit of a problem this week's Parsha. How was Yitzchak able to get engaged to Rivka? Eliezer gives her the tabat, the nose ring. He didn't see her. He can point to the shliach. Eliezer sees her. She didn't see it. He didn't see her. Okay, it's a good question. Torah wasn't given. Fine. But in any case, in general, you can't just hear about a girl and get engaged to her. You got to see her. That's what the Gemara in Kiddushin teaches us. So I want to give you a little twist, a little high twist. It doesn't mean you can't marry them. It doesn't mean you have to look at her once. It means you can't get married until you mamish see her on the level of yearning, on the level of a l'chol ayin l'cha tetzapeh. For I am yearning. It's the deepest depth there is. That's how do you know? Should I get engaged to this girl or not? Are you yearning for her? You connect her on a deeper level. Shlomo says if your connection is beyond, then you're in the right place. Gevalt. Told you Shlomo was in a creative mood when he gave this drasha. We've already heard like 6 different unbelievable chidushim. Now, what does longing mean? You're drawing from the fountain. You come to a fountain, you come to a little bear, you see a little water. You know how much you can draw from it? Till Mashiach. You just see a little bit of water, but if you have good eyes, drawing eyes, you can see much beyond. A real Rebbe, yeah, quick question, go for it. So I want you to do something very deep. You know, when a baby is born, they cry. You know why they're really crying? Their eyes are closed. They don't first open up their eyes. You know why? They're a little bit scared. They don't want, they want to stay in the world of yearning. Sometimes when you close your eyes, you know, a lot of people, the Zohar says you should close your eyes. The Rizal says you should close your eyes when you daven. Because in a way, we can go deeper when our eyes are closed. And the baby doesn't want to get down into looking bad. He doesn't want to get into this world. You know, like when I wake up in the morning, I try not to turn on my phone. I try not to check my phone until I daven Shachris. You know, I know usually a lot of people are messaging me, but I don't want to go into the world. Sometimes I need to close my eyes to get into a deeper place before I go back into this world. You know, the Abba, the father, he teaches us on the level of Torah Shebechtav, the written law. Says this is the Chumash, this is the words. But the Torah Shabbat, the oral tradition, it's what's not written, but it's what's so much deeper in the Torah. And how do you get to the Torah Shabbat Peh? How do you get to these beautiful teachings? Through longing. And every Yid has that ability. Torah Shabbat Peh, the longing is so deep. It means when I'm learning, it's not just that I don't understand it, but I want to bring this Torah down to all of Am Yisrael. And this is the level of Eliezer. Do you know who opened the gates of Torah Shabbat Peh, of the oral Torah? Eliezer. The first one who invented something on his own. Adam doesn't invent anything on his own. Well, he does, but it was the wrong thing. Noach just goes with the flow. Avram argues it a little bit with Hashem. Okay, so you could argue that maybe he also a little bit brought it down. The first one who comes up with this whole idea of, I'm going to make a sign, and Hashem, if you give me this sign, then it's a sign, is Eliezer. Avram just told Eliezer, just go to my land. Avram is Torah Shebechtav, written Torah. Get me a wife for my son. Eliezer has the whole idea of Hashem, give me a sign. This is Mimayanei Yeshua, the fountain of salvation. It's a Gevalt. Eliezer says, today I came to the fountain. When do you detect a fountain? When it's getting a little bit dark. He says, the Mamish don't know anything yet. Sometimes you look at the Chumash and it's dark. I'm looking at the Gemara, it's dark. And then I come up to the fountain. And I start coming up with my own insights, my own chidushim. And I want you to know even the deepest. The Gemara says, Va'avo hamakom ela ayin. And the Zohar Kodesh says that Eliezer looked at himself and he thought, who am I to bring such a holy wedding together? Who am I to do this? Only the people who know the secret of longing, they know how to look at themselves and say, oy vey, I don't deserve it. This is a very, very deep type of longing, because this comes from the deepest depth of my neshama. So when Eliezer went to look for Rivka, you know what gates were opening at this little fountain? At this ma'ayan? He was looking at himself and he realized, who am I? I don't deserve it. But he says, please God, do it because of Avram Avinu. I want you to know, friends, there are two levels of goodness. There's a level of goodness which is on the level of open eyes. I see what you need, you're hungry, so I give you food. Then there's a level of goodness which is on the level of longing. You can't really see it. Rivka gives water to the camels on the level of longing. Camels don't need water. Eliezer doesn't need water. He's a strong man. Let him go down and get a drink by himself. On the level of longing, though, you can see this camel just drunk. And maybe it needs one more drop. One more drop. Try to give it this camel with great love. So Eliezer says to Rivka, I came to your eyes. I saw that you have the right eyes for Yitzchak. The eyes of wanting something so exalted. So Rivka, at the ayin, at the mayan, she connects with eyes of love. She represents the concept. She's not just giving you what you need on a physical level. She's giving you your emotional needs. She's giving you love. And she sees beyond. And she needs to give that water with so much love to Eliezer and to those camels. And so that's how Eliezer knows that she's got to be the mother of the Jewish people, because she has those eyes to give with so much joy, so much love, so much kindness. Just like Avram Avinu. Gevalt. That's the end of the Maimar. So many beautiful Kedushin. May Hashem bless us to have eyes like Rav Kook, who only saw the good in everyone, like Rav Shlomo, who every single person he met, he only looked at them, at their soul. Like the stories that I've been telling. Rav Shlomo met a waitress who was gruff in the restaurant, and he looks at the muffin that he brought to him. He says, what an amazing muffin! What a beautiful muffin! It's delicious! What texture! And suddenly, she started melting, and she started being soft and kind. And someone would walk through at the concert, and he would greet everyone with eyes of love. There was one guy who was deformed, unfortunately, No one would look at him. No one was even getting close to him. He stopped the concert, put down the guitar, and said, "You're so beautiful, holy brother." And then the whole crowd started singing and dancing. And suddenly this person was beautiful again. Shlomo had those eyes to see with loving, holy eyes. So that was Eliezer, creative eyes, yearning eyes, looking at the good at one another, looking with love with one another, always looking with good at the world, to see the good in the world, to see the good in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. May Hashem bless us every time we say Shema Yisrael, Su Ma'aram Enechem, to uplift our eyes. So let's end with a niggin, and if anyone has any questions, Bezrat Hashem, you're welcome. Amen. Yeah.